Good morning. It is the wake up call with myself and Alex Costa. What is up, guys?
Good morning. Another day, another
Another
chop.
day, another chop. We got a pretty good one for
What's
you
up?
guys today. Um, so some pretty big news though. Even though it is choppy, we do have some bullish news. Binance is back. Binance to resume the USD services in the United States. What is your thoughts on that, Alex?
So we were talking about this before this live stream while we were just chatting, and I have never used Binance in the United States. Yeah, but never used Binance US. So I've used Trust Wallet, which has access to a lot of the Binance features, and so it's never been a big deal for me. But while that's being said, it's not lost on me that this is significant because Binance is a behemoth.
Right.
It's funny how who talks about the BNB token, for example, in the United States. It's the number three, number four crypto
Top
in the
five.
world. Binance owns everything. Top five, yeah, and it's been constantly top five. Binance owns everything. They continue to acquire everything. They own CoinMarketCap.com. They own Trust Wallet. They are a major player, and so the fact that Binance is back in the US, yeah, I'm not going to ignore
I mean,
that for
talk about a
sure.
sleeping giant. And I do think for a blue chip, like if you're looking for, 3x returns or so, I do think that Binance is a good alternative or a good option as well. I think it's a safe play. I do think that they're kind of like
Yeah,
in this too big to fail. To me, it's like all work works, and it's just everything works towards the greater good, in my opinion. So again, like yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't really use Binance like that, but I do think that it is a big deal. All right,
yeah.
reverse money printer.
Go ahead.
Today, Elon Musk proposes $5,000 Doge paycheck and dividends for all Americans funded by saving from the Department of Government Efficiency. What is your thoughts on that, Alex? Hold on, I'm going to move you guys.
I have a couple of thoughts. I mean, first of all, this is hilarious. I tweeted about this, or I responded to some tweet about it because it's comparable to a family that's $1 million in debt, all of a sudden deciding that they want to do some stuff to cut down on their debt, and so they cut $20,000 off of their $1 million of debt, and then they're like, "Hey, let's go to Disney World." It's something along those lines. I mean, the amount of debt that we have in the United States is staggering to the point where it's like they've cut some, billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars, which is great. I'm not going to complain. That sounds great, but there's still a long way to go. Now, all right, that's thought number one. That's my libertarian. I care about the long term future of the United States, of the economy that I am primarily in. On the other side, I mean, that was a significant thing in 2020. That what did people do with their $1,200 when they got their first $1,200 stimulus check? A lot of people, you can see this on the blockchain, they bought exactly $1,200 of Bitcoin. And so if this happens, we'll see. I tend to think that Trump would be very much in favor of doing something like a $5,000 Doge dividend check. That is a political move that I think would make some people happy for sure, and probably do well for our
Yeah, I
short
think
term
it's a
bags.
very
So
populist type move, which is sort of what I view him as. And to me, as the charts guy, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. It is very peculiar to me that like I threw out this, last time we had our podcast, it just like it was the same exact or very similar structure, especially with the total three on the C19 crash. And now we have this thing like just coming out of the woodworks, almost out of nowhere from the C19 crash. That was the same exact outcome. And that was the stimulus checks.
yeah,
And so, reverse quantitative tightening or
exactly.
reverse quantitative easing. I do like your analogy, and I've talked about this as well. Like, if the United States government was a person, I would not loan them a dollar. You know, that's like it's like your uncle.
Yeah,
It's like your uncle
that's for
who's like,
sure.
yeah, I get paid on Monday. Let me get $20, and it's like, bro, you didn't pay me $20 from the last time. You know, from a fundamental perspective, I agree with your analogy. But from a charts and a setup perspective, I think could be something. I want to see how this sort of plays out. It's obviously in the just in the talking sort of stage, but yeah, this is definitely something in the works here.
For sure.
All right. Coinbase launches Solana Hedera futures contracts for the US traders. There was a whole heap of other ones. I even saw like gold on there. This is leverage trading. And again, I just think it's kind of the same deal as Binance of like all work works. What do you think?
Nothing life changing for me. Thinking about, okay, all right, we can leverage trade Solana, Hedera. I already have my platforms where I do all of that. I'm not going to do it on Coinbase. There's very little that I do on Coinbase aside from when I need to cash out, transferring my crypto from other places to Coinbase so I can actually transfer it to my bank account. But it's something. It's just like Binance. I mean, except I would say Binance is a bigger deal. It's something. It's a step in the right direction. It's progress. I'll take it.
Yeah, everything is something.
That's all I got.
Everything is something. Nothing is everything. I kind of view it as a lesser news as Binance, and I agree with you. I use Coinbase for on and off ramping. I also use their card. They do have a pretty good card, in my opinion, and you get cash back in crypto. But other than that, I don't trade on Coinbase. I don't hold on Coinbase. I upload USDC to Coinbase, and then I spend my grocery and gas, and I get cash back in Bitcoin. That's what I use Coinbase for.
There we go.
All right, pro crypto Howard Lutnick has been confirmed by the Senate as the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. And then I have a little video of him talking about like he is very pro crypto, and I have a video of him
hundreds of millions of dollars.
Okay.
Okay, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars exposure to Bitcoin, and it will be billions.
What are your thoughts on that, Alex?
Another positive thing. I mean, all right, let's be real for a second. The first thing that I thought when I heard this story was like, I don't care. And the reason why is because I remember getting excited when Gary Gensler became the SEC chair. Oops. Why was I excited about Gary Gensler? Well, it's because I watched this MIT course where he talked about blockchain technology. And so I was like, hey, somebody who actually knows about blockchain technology is going to be the SEC chair. That can't be all that bad. But okay, that was my initial reaction to hearing this story. And then you play a clip like this, and I know this is way different than Gary Gensler. This is good. This is another thing. It's just like Coinbase. It's another thing that I would say is a positive development because, you know, he's not going to, whatever power he has, he's not going to do anything to hurt his bags, which may be one day worth billions of dollars. It probably will be unless he is stupid and he sells. So
yeah. I agree. Again, another chink, another everything is something, nothing is everything, and I think it's a something story. All right, let's get into the charts. I'll let you switch to yours. Why I get mine.
Yes, can you do that, please? Okay, so first thing that I'm seeing here is this is the Ethereum chart, and for those on TikTok, I am sorry, you are going to have to go to YouTube. World War Bitcoin or your boy Ski to look at the charts. And what am I looking at the charts? I am seeing just a great deal of messing with us on Ethereum. I would say what I will say with this is right now, this is actually a decent looking chart to me. as we're seeing. We tried breaking out of the wedge pattern to the upside on Monday, lost it. And then if we were to look at this on the daily, which I'm totally messing this up right now, if we were to look at this chart on the daily, what you would see is that this is just a wick. And I remember yesterday losing this level of support and thinking, you know what, it's probably just a wick. And then that's exactly what it became. And then it looks like we're just back testing the top of this this range right here. And perhaps this is a perfect time to get in on Ethereum. And so Ethereum, I mean, Bitcoin's just doing the same thing that it's been doing. I don't even want to pull up a Bitcoin chart. If you don't know the price of Bitcoin right now and you were to just guess, I think a lot of you would guess between 95 and $98,000. And guess what? You'd be right, which is where Bitcoin's been for the last 2.5 weeks, which is exactly, if you remember, I mean, I've been talking about this on my live streams. That's what I called for, is at least 3 weeks of chop, and then some kind of movement after that, at least 3 weeks from that liquidation event that happened 2.5 weeks ago. And so I got a reply on my X account. So are you saying that next week Bitcoin and the altcoin market's going to go up? No. What I'm saying is at least 3 weeks of chop. And the other thing that I said about that is at least during that period of a chop, that unfortunately there was going to be a lot of anxiety and fear in the market. And that has turned out to be exactly the case. I mean, the level of anxiety right now is significantly high. And I think that's unfortunately caused, a part of that can be attributed to just how unbelievably high expectations were coming into 2025. And okay, you know what? That's not what happened. There's always a possibility in my mind that was not going to happen, that 2025 was all of our wildest dreams coming true. Now we adjust. And where we've adjusted, where I'm adjusting right now is with this mindset of like, all right, looking at the charts, what should I think? What should my bias be right now? And right now, at this moment, it could change another time. Right now, my bias is bullish, but I'll let you go.
Yeah,
Devin.
I agree. I agree with that. One story that I forgot to put in the morning update, but I can tell you about it, is Fidelity. While everyone was panicking yesterday, and while Bitcoin went back to what was at 93K, and I made a video. I was like, yeah, come into my live stream and just complain about how scared you are and how it's different this time and all this and that. And while everyone was scared, Fidelity bought it was like 1,800 Ethereum or something like that. So
yeah,
they're not in the business of losing money, and I agree with you. We're just at the bottom of the range. Ranging is boring, and I there's 3 ways. I've talked about this. There's 3 ways that the apex predator gets retail: violent, scary crashes, and they sell out of fear. FOMO, and that usually looks like jealousy. So like their coin is up 20%, but this other coin's up a 20x, and they'll go buy the 20x and be extra liquidity on that. And then the most common way is boring chop. And most for retail, you'll see like there's sort of like stages of it. Like they'll usually knock out the FOMO one first, and then they'll find out that scary crashes are a good deal. But usually the last stage is getting through the boring chop. And that one emotionally, sometimes for retail, is just like the hardest one to endure because of what you said, like the expectations. But that's what it is, in my opinion. It's boring chop. And Bitcoin's been at the same exact range for 101 days. And we've been making higher lows for the total 3. I am bullish until May. I think that the total 3 does a minimum of a 60% move between now and May, and it could be upwards of a 1.5x, which for the total 3 is going to be massive. That's a ton of liquidity. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm still, maybe this is wishful thinking, or I don't know, but I still have, this is something that I've been paying attention to for quite a while, and I'm very curious to see if it happens again this time around. And I think it will happen again. It's Bitcoin in July of every post-halving year has gotten down to its 1.618 retrace from its previous cycle top to its from its bear market bottom, previous cycle top, bear market bottom, and that's happened every time. July of 2013, that was about $55. July of 2017, that was $3,000, and no, $1,800, excuse me. And then July of 2021, that was around $30,000. So what's the 1.618 retrace this time around? That's about $100,000. And every time July of the post-halving year, we have that moment was a moment of peak fear. So with Bitcoin at $96,000 right now, and if you were to hear right at this moment that Bitcoin would be at $100,000 in July of 2025, what would your thoughts be? You'd probably be like, okay, well, I think most people would be like, only $100,000. That's kind of a bummer. But what if we got to $155,000, which is a 2.618 retrace, and then went down to a 1.618, and then that was a moment of peak fear. If that's how it plays itself out, I'm going to be a heavy buyer of crypto in July of 2025. Now, we differ on what the end of 2025 is going to look like, but whatever the case, I'm a buyer in July of 2025 if that's how it plays itself out. But we'll see.
I don't really care what happens. Like, I have my theories, but I'm going to let the markets lead me. If we start seeing technical things that are like, okay, this is, whatever, then I'll pivot with new information. I have new opinions. Someone says that I just want to show this that I'm a one-dimensional bullish. I'm not. I've been very bearish on a lot of different coins. I've been bearish on XCN. I've been bearish on SUI. I've been bearish on XRP. I sold 40% at $3.33. With new price action, I have new opinions, and it's I've added and removed XYO to my value list like 5 times now, and that's all it really is when it gets below the 236, it's an extreme value for me. When it's above it, it's not extreme value anymore. So that is the fluidity of my list.
You've just been consistent. I mean, I don't even know. And what does mid bearish mean? So I'm mid bearish. I don't even know what that means. I'm a bull right now. I haven't really been a bear. It's so funny. It's like you've heard, I know that you've experienced this before, but if you're not an all out bull, some people will just be, why are you so bearish?
XRP has been like that for me. I've been bullish on XRP since 30 cents publicly. But I had the same targets since 2022 of $5 to $8 was my medium case. And then we might go 12 to 14 in a crazy scenario. I've been very, like, from the whole time it's been that. And then from the whole time I've been saying I'm taking profit at $1.11, $2.22, $3.33, $5, $8, $12. There's my entire exit strategy. Steal it if you want to. Do your own research, but not financial advice. But yeah, like it's like I'm caught in this weird place on the XRP army of, like, there's so many people that think XRP is just an outward scam. And they're like, oh, he's a bull on XRP, and they try to throw you in this category. And then there's so many people that it's like, no, it's going to 10,000 because of the market cap of Santa Claus and all this stuff. And it's like, no, neither one of those are happening, in my opinion. So no one caught more heat about that than me.
Man, I want to address a comment here. Last week you said you sold 20% of XRP, then 30%. Now you're saying 40%. LOL. Redemption. You've made a couple of troll comments during this live stream. You know what Devin and I were talking about before we got on this live stream? We were talking about how many acres was it? 35 acres?
27 acres.
27 acres. Devin bought 27 acres of land with his XRP profits. And so whatever percentage he said, or whatever percentage you perceive that he said, he has the receipts. And so, let's move on from that attempt there.
I'll be clear.
So-
My plan was 30% at $3.33. The land, that was my plan, was 30%. The land was over my budget, so I sold 40%. That's the difference.
There we go. There's the answer.
So sorry
But-
for disappointing. I rugged XRP.
You rugged XRP. You were a bull. We both were. You were a bull when people were in the midst of despair on XRP, and so was I. I remember saying, even though I'll admit I wasn't too hot on the rest of the ISOs, but I was like, I am holding my XRP, and I don't care how long it drags, because XRP has a history of violently breaking out when it breaks out. And then that's exactly what happened. I don't care. I don't love XRP. I don't hate it. I saw an opportunity to make money, and I made money, and I didn't make 28 acres of land worth of money, but I am content with my gains on XRP. And now I own a little bit of it, but not a ton.
I think XRP is the king of boring until it's not, or the queen, however you want to view it. Like, cause it'll just like,
I love that.
You know, it'll just capitulate you to death of just boring for years. And then a violent,
that's right,
a violent crash or a violent peak up to the upside. And then that's when people FOMO in. Like, I was talking about it for years. No one cared. And then the second that we broke out, everyone started buying it.
Yep. And I mean, I'm sure you got the same questions. I mean, the day before the election day, I got questions about XRP. You know, I'm tired of XRP. Should I sell it and buy something else that's going to obviously outperform it? Best stable coin on the market. That's ridiculous. Until it's not. And then there we were on November 5th after it was clear that Trump was going to win, and then boom, XRP shot off like crazy. So
yeah. I think someone asked, do I still think by the end of this month Bitcoin can reach $118,000? I do think that, because the difference between, like, and especially if my theory is true, it doesn't necessarily need to be by the end of February. What do we have, like, 10 days, 9 days left? But I do think in the next couple of weeks, like we talked about, 3 weeks of chop. So where would that be? I'm going to switch to mine real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Where would that be for 3 weeks of chop? If we look at for Bitcoin, because in my opinion, the theory that I have is we are doing the same sort of structure as the C19 crash. And you had 3 weeks of chop, like Alex talked about, before you started really working our way out. So we're on day number 16 now. So 3 weeks would put us at February 25th. The difference between us getting to, 97,000, that puts us in full on bullish posture. And, how this thing, people have this like sort of notion or this idea, especially with crypto in general, that it's just going to give you plenty of time to just like sort of ease its way up. And that's not how it goes. It's just boring until it's not. And the difference between, 105,000 and 118,000 could be a single day. And that's how things typically go. Like, that's how it was last time when Tesla bought whatever it was. It went from $35,000 to $50,000 in a single day. So yeah, I do think that, by the end of February, we could be at 118,000. I still think that is my theory. But even if it's the difference between like, March 3rd and February 28th, like, it doesn't really matter. But I think in the next few weeks, we're going to start to pivot into the V-shaped recovery on the altcoins, and Bitcoin, I think, needs to go to 118,000 for that to happen.
All right, that's your theory. I am agnostic about it. The thing that I will say is, like, I could definitely see Bitcoin being at $118,000 by the end of the month. Or I could see it being at, what's the price right now? It's a 95,846 at this moment. I could see it being at 95,846. I could see it being lower than that, higher than that. I am curious as to what kind of catalyst. I mean, we did We did see that in 2021 with Tesla buying Bitcoin. That was a huge catalyst. And I would actually say that that caused the market to peak a little prematurely. That in my opinion, we kind of would have just steadily climbed throughout the entire year until a big peak later on in the year if Tesla did not buy Bitcoin. And so what's it going to be this time around? Is there anything this time around? I mean, there's always the potential of major bullish catalysts, or could it just be that supply and demand plays itself out in such a way that we will see a significant shift in the market? And whatever the case, I'm it makes sense to me to just hold on. Let's see what comes next.
Yeah. So to answer your question, supply and demand to me is what is the thing. But like we as humans, we as like retail, we need a reason. We need a rhyme and a reason. And it's not good enough that magic internet money goes up or down for us. But if you're looking for a narrative reason, that is the reason, supply and demand. But if you're looking for a narrative reason, I think the narrative reason is going to be the closest big institution, if you will, to actually passing the Bitcoin strategic reserve. And I'm not saying that the United States is going to do it, but I think Texas passing like theirs is actually has some real momentum. And I think a lot of the states are going to pass their Bitcoin strategic reserve into law before the United States does. And I think Texas could be one of the leaders in kicking it off. They do have like the largest Bitcoin miners. So they have real incentive to get that done. And it's expected to pass. So I think that could be a narrative to sort of like kick things off and just out of nowhere. Is Alvarez coming on? He was supposed to come on. He had some family issues to take care of, but he should be a regular starting on Friday.
Yeah, very excited about that. So if you guys don't follow Alvarez, follow him on TikTok. Looking up Texas GDP, 2.695 trillion, making it the second highest GDP in the United States. Texas, 8th largest in the world. That doesn't sound right, but I mean, maybe it does sound right. I don't know. So I think that's economies like nations around the world.
Canada.
That's not an insignificant thing.
Yeah. So Canada? What for perspective? Well, I was just trying to throw out a country that was like relative size to their GDP. For perspective, what is number 7 and what is number 9? If they're number 8, what's number 7?
I don't know.
9? Let me look.
I exited my tab. I mean, that was just Google.
Well, like I think Canada or Mexico. It'd be like if Canada or Mexico passed the, Bitcoin.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but the 8th. That's larger than most countries. Opinion on
all right, list of countries by GDP. All right, go ahead.
Opinion on Solana 2% unlock after March 1st. I've talked about this like by design. Solana, I mean, that's obviously not a great thing. Price equals supply plus demand. By design, Solana is infinite inflationary, but I think and I've talked about this in function. The way that half the liquidity is locked on a lot of these things, but in function, it's actually deflationary. But go ahead. You were going to tell us the list.
Okay, so we have France number 7, and then Italy number 8, and Canada number 9. So I'm looking at the nations, not states. And so Texas would be between France and Italy. If it were on here, so California would be a little bit higher.
So imagine if France, Canada, or Italy just passed the Bitcoin strategic reserve tomorrow. I think that is the sort of catalyst that's going to bring us to 118.
Sounds about right.
Is Caspa a good investment? It's all right. What do you think? It's mid.
It's I'll share a hesitation with Caspa, and it's simply this: if you look at where Caspa was I don't know, man, December of 2023. No, let's even say before then. Where was it? August of 2023, it was at 3 cents. You go back to January of 2023, it was less than a penny. And so this was a big, big winner in other people's just throughout the bear market leading into 2024, 2025. And then, I mean, it's just ever since then, it's been just a really long chop, I would say, or you could really look at the Caspa chart, just a really big distribution starting from November of 2023 to today. And I mean, look at that, where if I'm just completely unbiased looking at a chart like that, I would guess that the next direction is down. Now I'm factoring in my head, at least, a mindset of, okay, you know what? If assuming we have a big crypto bull run where the altcoin market cap goes crazy, then sure, Caspa can go much higher. I think I gave it a $1. I know in early 2024, I gave Caspa a $1.07 price target. And I know a lot of you were like, only $1.07. Caspa is going to change the world. And well, here we are in February of 2025, and it's 10 cents. It got up to 20 cents. And so will it even get to $1.07? I don't know. I think it could. But what's the appeal with Caspa? Aside from everything that I just said, proof of work, right? So
proof of work to me, that's a big deal. That's a bigger deal than most people think. I've talked about this a lot, like sort of the hidden whales are the miners. They definitely have a say as to where things go. But the thing is with Caspa, the perspective that you need to look at Caspa with is it did a 20x when everything else was dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a large market cap. So someone said it's better than Ethereum. I would probably agree with that. I don't know about chart wise right now, but technology wise, I'd probably agree with that. But from an investment perspective, I think it's okay. It's all right. I don't hate it and I don't love it at the same time. I'm pretty neutral on Caspa. That is kind of my thoughts on that. How long do you believe the next leg up will last?
All right. If you're going to ask me that, all right, let's stick with Devin's timeline here and say that Bitcoin will be $118,000 at the end of February, or circa end of February, early March, or something like that. If that happens, I'm saying like 7 weeks. When this happens, it happens incredibly fast. I mean, if I were to pull up total 2 or total 3 even from 2021, what you would see is something that it comes and goes. It's a flash in the pan, and then it's, oh my goodness, I'm so terrible with trying to chart or trying to look at charts and talk at the same time. But total 2, total 3 from 2021, let's just take it from me. It happened very quickly, and then it was over. And this is kind of just how it tends to work. I mean, March 23rd of 2021, total 2 was around, is this total 2? Yeah, it's total 2. It was around $617 billion. And then around the time that Elon Musk went on SNL, is 1.5 trillion. So it did what 150% gain in a span of a few weeks, and then it was over.
Yeah,
it was over after that, until selling may go away, until we put in a new higher high in the fourth quarter of 2021. So again, very quick.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a similar thing. Like that's sort of my thesis right now is we're gonna have a nice little run, whether it's the run or a version of it between now and May. It's going to be boring and choppy, maybe grueling, maybe a combination of the 3 between June through August, September. And then we're going to have another run maybe into 2026. We'll see how long it goes. To me, I'm not really concerned as much or looking even as much at timelines, but I will say, what I think is more probable, or like a higher probability, is like if we look at the total 3, for example, I think we'll get into price discovery. You know what I mean? That's an 89% move. That's nothing crazy. I mean, that's a lot of money for sure, but that would be the more indication of like what our timeline is left. Is like, where are we on the Fibonacci's? And I would probably pull so I have the macro Fibonacci pulled, and I would probably pull a micro, and I think that there's some confluence. The 1618, I would pay attention to both the 2618 on the micro, the 1618 on the micro, and the 1618 on the macro. And then you have the 4236 and the 236. So these, like this level in here, to me is like what I'd be paying attention, and where I would start to have an abundance of caution, rather than trying to nail on the head what day, what time. I would just be looking at like actual gains, and the price action of it.
I mean, yes, 100%. I mean, if we looked at like 2024, early 2024, I was paying attention to the retraces. I was paying attention to where are we going, and I mean, we can fast forward to early 2024 here. You can see it on my chart. Where should I start being very cautious? Just looking at total 2, and it's when we got up to the golden pocket here, 618. Looks like it went straight to the 0.66, middle of the golden pocket. I was thinking that it would get to the 702. It never did, but I knew that for sure a lot of people in early 2024 were going to be targeting that as a take profit zone. And so this time around, what's that going to look like? I mean, it's the targets, it's the 1.618, it's maybe the 2.618, something like that. But it's good to also have a mindset of just this thing will go very quickly, and you're going to be hearing from a lot of people if and when that time comes that that we're in some kind of new territory where this is just going to go up forever, and you're going to, listening to that now, you're going to suck yourself in. You're going to convince yourself, oh, I'm not going to fall for that. All right, good luck.
Yeah,
good luck, because there's going to be a time, I think, when both of us, if it plays itself out like that, both of us are going to get bearish, and you guys, some of you are not going to want to hear it, and you're going to try to gaslight us.
Is it like XEN? XEN's an example. Like I was bullish. I've been bullish on XEN for a long time, for a grueling amount of time, 2+ years of just like less than a third of a penny, just for 2+ years. It does a 20x in 10 days. And then everyone's like, what are your thoughts on it? It's like, my thoughts are take profit. If you have 20x, like that's a lifetime of stock market. That's your entire 40 years of slaving away at your 401k. That just happened in a week, essentially. My thoughts are, for the love of God, take profit. And that was my macro target.
Yeah.
All right. Best gaming, crypto, you both, most ROI. What's your favorite gaming?
Oh, man. Ugh. All right. So here's the deal. I all throughout 2023 and 2024, it's like, what was the big thing that people were saying is going to make the most returns? It's gaming, it's AI, it's a lot of other things. And so AI did very well, and no surprises with that. I mean, crazy. Ajax, before it merged with FET, hit a new all-time high in January of 2023. So AI did very well. Gaming has not done well. And there's a reason why. It's because crypto gaming sucks. Okay, it's not even anywhere near the same stratosphere as regular gaming. The quality of the game is terrible. And so what we need for crypto gaming to actually do well is for just the lack
Ninja to hop on a game.
Irrationality. What's that?
Ninja to hop on a crypto game. That's what we need.
Yeah, sure. Something like that. Or just like this irrational exuberance of, oh man, blockchain technology is going to change the world. We're at just the dawn, we're at the precipice of the future, which is where we got in April and May of 2021. Especially, I mean, it was insane. And so we need that. That is a prerequisite, in my opinion, for most crypto gaming to do incredibly well. And so with that prerequisite laid out, where do I go? I mean, I don't know, man. I guess like Superverse, or I have some Miria. I've been holding on. It's been terrible. So maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. I'm not a huge fan of crypto gaming. I think it's super overrated.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I was very disappointed with Gala. I did like Gala in 2022, and one of my most popular videos on YouTube is my Gala predictions. And I outlined what the circulating supply was in that video, and it was 7 billion, and it's like 36 billion now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you supposed to, that means you got to take a 5x off the table immediately. So yeah, I think that gaming will be something cool in the future. But I think the narrative is ahead of the technology. As far as like a potential ROI one, I do like Naka from a inflation and chart setup. I know you don't like the whale list or whatever.
Yes.
But from a specific TA setup and a inflation standpoint, I like Naka. But I'm not like Naka's the amazing technology. It's like the TA looks good and the narrative might carry it. I don't know. We'll see.
So let me just add something here. If Naka did something like a 50x from this moment, it would not shock me. It's just, I would say risk to reward. It's just, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. So
yeah, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid either. I'm just strictly looking at it from a Wyckoff perspective. Yeah. Can Solana ever replace Ethereum?
Replace Ethereum? I mean, what does that even mean? Because I mean, when I think of replacing Ethereum, I think of that means that we're you know, I opened this live stream with my charts, looking at the Ethereum chart and identifying Ethereum as like the big one that if Ethereum breaks out, we're going to be golden. We're going to be good to go. So Solana replacing Ethereum in that regard, I have a hard time believing that. That would be great, but here's what's going to happen. You know, let's say next bear market, we just start seeing a semblance of like, all right, we're heating up, the bull run's coming back on. Solana is going to shoot off like crazy because people are just going to get straight into degen mode again.
Yeah.
And so Ethereum, if that's the question, no, because Solana, what Ethereum, the significance of Ethereum is when Ethereum breaks out, it's time for alt season. That's never going to be the case with Solana. Could something else replace Ethereum as that? All right, when the number 2 breaks out, we'll have alt season. Maybe my eyes would be more on XRP as like, all right, when XRP breaks out, it's time. And we kind of had that in November.
Yeah.
We had a mini run in alts and led by XRP, but that's a very complex question to answer.
In my opinion, from a technological standpoint, it already has. There is nothing that Solana, or there's nothing that Ethereum does that Solana doesn't do 100 times faster, 100 times cheaper. The fact that Ethereum is 4 times the market cap of Solana. The gas fees are 100x more, but Solana is generating more revenue is an absurd stat and just shows how much fluidity is on Solana. So from a technological standpoint, I refuse to even move money on Ethereum if the option is given to me. If I have the option of moving on Solana, XRP, Algo, anything besides Ethereum, I will choose literally everything else, because there's never been a single there's never been a single time when I do a transaction on Ethereum. I've been in this game for a decade. Every time I do a transaction on Ethereum, I have doubts that creep into my head of like I'm waiting for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's like, my God, did I do the right address? Did I just send this off to the ether, did I just donate to the market cap? Like every time that doesn't go away, I've been in this for a decade. I don't have that feeling with HBAR, Solana, XRP. By the time I hit send, it is there. And that's a good feeling. So from a
Yeah.
technological standpoint, I think that that's already happened. And I've talked about, like, I do think that Ethereum is going to lead this alt season. I think that Ethereum gets into price discovery, $7,000 by the end of the bull market, whenever that is. But I do think that this is Ethereum's last hurrah as number 2. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to die and it's going to just not grow anymore. I think it will grow. I think it will become bigger and bigger, and more people will use it. But I do think that XRP, Solana, HBAR are going to grow faster at a more exponential rate as far as onboarding and use case than Ethereum will. So that is my thoughts on it.
Yeah, lots of complexities with a question like that. Like I said, I mean, even the first thing that popped into my mind when I'm hearing that question is like TVL. TVL, Ethereum. I've mentioned this plenty of times before. I'll just say it again. You know, at this time in 2021, Ethereum had 96% of all dollars locked in crypto. It was locked in on Ethereum. Now that's more like 55%. In 2028 or 2029, that's probably going to be more like 20 to 25%. And it may be that the dollar amounts don't decrease, but the piece of the pie will decrease as blockchain technology grows, because there's no reason. Why would you build on Ethereum at this point? Why would you transact on Ethereum aside from the fact that some random tool decided to build on Ethereum? Why would you do anything new on Ethereum? You would do old things, you know, things that have already been established on Ethereum, but not anything new moving forward.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think is going to happen, is like Ethereum will continue to grow, but their percentage of the pie is going to shrink. Thoughts on ICP? What are your thoughts on ICP? Is it a good investment right now?
Oh man, I'm rooting for ICP. I'll say that. I would say ICP has been a huge disappointment all throughout the early 2024. It had its rise. It had a good run in early 2024, and ever since then, it's been underperforming. Tokenomics with ICP are not good. That will improve over time. And so short term, maybe we would see ICP break this downtrend. It's an aggressive downtrend, and ICP is back down. It's gotten back down to its July 5th bottom. It's certainly in a value zone, but I'd rather see ICP break through the downtrend and back test before getting in on this. I mean, looking on this timeline, it looks like that could happen in March. So I wouldn't have a huge problem buying ICP right now. Just have low expectations for it. I'm content with small gains. I know most people are not. You want to hit a home run every time you go to bat. ICP is not a home run. It's just not. But it can do something. And then long term, I'm much more. I am bullish, like for this decade on ICP. And I saw a tweet that just kind of perked my ears, which is that ICP was number 4. I mean, this was from Dfinity, but number 4 in revenues earned or something like that. I'm like, really? I didn't do any due diligence on that, but I saw a tweet from Dfinity, so we'll see.
My thoughts on ICP. So I'm looking at the market cap, which to me is the true price. I don't mind this chart at all. I think that the risk to reward for ICP is pretty good. I don't think that you're going to, even if you take out this low right here, I don't think you're going to take out, multiple years of support right here. I don't even think that this gets taken out. As far as I think that we're just going to either chop or completely break out of here. But I think that the risk to reward is pretty low. I mean, realistically, 20%, I think is your risk right now, but maybe 35, 40% risk. And you're well below the 236. I don't even think it needs to go to an all-time high for you to have substantial gains.
I mean, where are you drawing the fibs from though? That's
I pull it from the top of the body right here. I don't pull it from this wick up here. I don't count that. So Yeah,
right.
this is nothing to me. Like when I see a coin launch, that's how I do it. Is like, for instance, like Casper, the red one. Like
Yeah.
I didn't pull like any of that first launch. I don't care about none of that. So I just pull it from the top of the body up here. That's how I am analyzing it. But I think the risk.
Fair enough.
I'm a little bit
Go
more
ahead.
bullish on you. I am bullish on it in the decade. I'm a little bit more bullish on in the next year or so. I just think it's a decent risk to reward play. I don't think it's going to 100x or anything crazy like that, but I do think it's going to perform well for a blue chip that it is.
Yeah. Yeah. People are down on ICP, a little too down on it, I
Yeah,
think.
a little too down
So,
on everything, which I think is a good sign.
yes, definitely.
Uh,
I mean, I just woke up this morning and saw on my TikTok 2 comments in a row saying it's over.
bro,
It's like,
I have like
great.
5. I have an
Yeah.
absurd amount. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, me and Alex are both live on YouTube at World War Bitcoin and at your boy Ski if you want a better viewing experience. Someone keeps asking about Ondo on TikTok.
Ondo. Ondo is one of the few that's actually looked pretty decent lately. Let's see here. Where do we go? I mean, it looks like it could certainly be setting in some lows short term. Don't love the chart. You know, you can see potentially a downtrend that needs to be broken. I know I'm breaking a rule here by. Oh no, I could have put at least 3 touch points there. I'd be more interested in Ondo at a different level, at a different time point than right now. Maybe this gets down to the 200-day. That's the yellow line, $1.04 or something like that. Before I'd be more interested. Not quite at $1.20. So
I think,
but I like Ondo fundamentally.
I like Ondo fundamentally. It has the tokenomics are a little bit scarce to me. I have about a $4 target for Ondo, which I mean, if you compare to the stock market, is absolutely crushing, especially because it did like a 10 plus X already. But if you're comparing it to, 1,000x, invest $20 and buy a boat and pay your mom's house off and buy a new mansion, I don't think that that's going to happen.
It's interesting, $4. I think my target's 371.
Yeah, so there you go.
So we're right in line because we've both looked at tokenomics and unlocks and everything like that. So
my wife's boyfriend's not a huge fan of ICP. That's a joke that I do constantly on my channel. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
But Ski, my wife's boyfriend said we're going to 12K. What should I do? Thoughts on Jasmine?
Jasmine's fine. I mean, we both, that's another one. Your target's between 10 and 12 cents. Mine is 11.57 cents. So it's one of those things. Jasmine has a lot of people who really hate it and a lot of people who really love it. And so people are very unrealistic in both directions.
Yes.
And there's people calling for Jasmine to go to $1. That's not happening. It's just it's not happening. People are calling for, people say don't touch Jasmine, it's a scam. I mean, I did very well on Jasmine. Jasmine was very boring for a long time, hanging around 0.3 of a cent, and all of a sudden it ripped out of nowhere. And so, I mean, looking at this, it's back in a liquidity zone. There's a lot of levels for confluence. I really like trading Jasmine because it just follows along these levels. I mean, if you're watching on my YouTube channel or on my chart here, I drew these levels a long time ago, and you can see just all the interactions with the levels. And so whatever you want to do with Jasmine, you can do it. You want to long Jasmine at certain times, it's a great coin to long. If you want to short it, it's a great coin to short. It's another one that I'm just like looking at how consistently it's going down. I'm not in love with the idea of just trying to catch a falling knife, but I do think it's going to bottom out pretty soon. And well, shoot, I might be talking myself into being willing to just buy this right now. I mean, you talk about downside risk, like Devin, what you talked about with ICP. There's very little downside risk. I would say 0.17 cents is kind of the bottom there for Jasmine, but we'll see.
Yeah, 22%.
I like Jasmine right now.
22% downside risk. I think you take that in crypto. That's realistic. Like there could
Yeah.
certainly be something that happens, like a meteor could crash down and whatever. But like I like to put things in perspective of like what is the likely risk here that I'm exposing myself to. And I especially like that in coins like XCN where they've done a 20x. It's like, where's the last bit of support that we've had? Well, it's like a 70%. It's like an 80% risk. With Jasmine, I think it's a
Yep.
decent value here. I agree. I think 10 to 12 cents. And I agree with your thesis. One of my most like disliked videos of all time is my analysis on Jasmine when I said that my price target was 10 to 12 cents. My average liked to dislike ratio is like 95% or something like that on my videos. And this video was 55% dislike rate. So
Somebody shared it.
yeah, they do. They hated it. Um, thoughts on memes now, Hee Hee Solnick in general. I don't think that you would even put Hee Hee and Solnick with everything else. And in fact, Solnick specifically, like we're kind of in the process of rebranding to DeFi because that's what we're actually doing is we're trying to create a DeFi application. And I definitely don't put Hee Hee the same as I view like you know, whatever random pump.fun coin.
So I have Fartcoin pulled up here, which you know, man, I was thinking about this morning. I might buy some Fartcoin in the bear market, man. It's on our radar as the premier, like everything that's wrong with meme coins that people hate about meme coins, at least. That I just think it's going to come back. But the reason why I pulled up Fartcoin is, you know, I did see a comment on YouTube. Hey, you know, he was at an $8 million market cap. Now it's at a $2 million market cap. Would you kindly explain what's going on? And it's fascinating to me because how this should normally work is that the larger market cap meme coins should be safer holds than the smaller market cap meme coins. But what we've come to find is like Fartcoin peaked at what, $2.8 billion or something like that, 2.7 billion, and now it's at 300 million. It's down 90% thereabouts. And I could pull up a lot of Fartcoins, just a template. I could pull up Popcat. I could pull up a lot of other of these meme coins. Peanut might be just straight up dead, but so many of these meme coins are looking so much worse than he and for sure more so than Solnick. I mean, Solnick's holding up very well, but at some point I have not fleshed out my thoughts on whether or not to enter some of these other meme coins. I'm not doing it right now. I think that I've been saying this for a while. I think there's going to be a point when we're looking at these charts and we're like, man, I should have bought at some point some Popcat or Fartcoin or whatever else. It's just, this thing could go down another 90% from where it is right now.
Yeah.
So I want to see some kind of confidence injected back into the market first before touching any of them. I have no problem buying sorry, I was reading a comment. Solnick and he right now for sure.
Yeah. For me personally, those are my highest conviction. I wouldn't even call them a meme anymore. Low market caps. But the rules of Wyckoff state that once you break a downtrend is when it's sort of in a safe buying zone. That's the rules of Wyckoff, and I'll give you an example. I can give an example of this, but for me, I'm not buying any new memes, and I'll wait for a break of a downtrend on old memes if I'm going to play that game. But I'm cool. Like I've accomplished my goals. I'm cool just doing the boring, blue chips right now, or even mid caps. Like I like Flux, and someone asked about LCX. I'll just pull that. I like LCX right now.
Right now it's older coins, not older and larger cap utilities. That's the play.
Yeah.
For now.
That's right. It's going to shift. And it's like, I just like how XYO to me. I'm gonna pull up my chart real quick. To me, like LCX and XYO to me is like a perfect snapshot of like just how I view the market and how I try to be as unemotional about this as I can be. You know, like, and here's an example of what I'm talking about. The rules of Wyckoff state that once you break the downtrend, so you have this like markdown
Look at that.
accumulation. You have your sign of strength right here is what I would call this, and then your back test. So once you break the downtrend, which it did, and it even gave you a nice back test, that's when it's like a safe buy. And then from there, it did a I think it was a 4x or a 6x. I don't remember what it was. A 6x, almost a 7x, but just call it a 6x, whatever. But yeah, I was screaming from the mountaintops in this range that XYO was one of my top medium cap plays. It did a 6x, and then I was like, okay, it's not a value anymore. Like I'm selling, it's no longer a value. And then everyone started asking about it. And then the same thing when it came back below the 236 and back tested this prior range. To me, this is now a top value play again. And I have the same exact. It's almost the same chart even for LCX as XYO. They're very, very similar. And a lot of the same sort of coins that I like right now have the same setup to me because it's a predictable one. And that's what I like. I like to be able to project actually where something is actually going to go. Like that's an important factor. I don't know if this is my chart. Yeah, here we go. Same thing. So you break the rule, you break the downtrend. It's on a downtrend right now. It's looking like it's like flirting with getting out of it. It's on top of the moving averages, but ultimately it's like right just above the 236, which I would say it's pretty damn good value, not extreme, but really good value for LCX. So I like it. I think it goes to $1 somewhere in there. That's my target.
Yeah. Only $1, Devin? What's wrong with you? Why are you so bearish?
Why am I so bearish? Yeah.
All right, yeah, we're back in Top Cat. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a joke, obviously.
Someone said newsflash,
Yeah.
Peanut the squirrel is dead. Yeah, like honestly, like what
Maybe.
is the narrative? Like, is there going to be another squirrel that the FBI destroys or what? Like, I don't know.
Named Peanut.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what the narrative that would take you. That might actually be the life of it. We'll see. Fart coin, maybe not, but yeah.
Yeah, I was heartbroken. I was able to trade to short Peanut at one point on Bitmart or wherever else, and they delisted it from at least from futures, which is a tell for sure. It's like there was such an obvious play with Peanut, which is just short it to zero. You can short Popcat, you can short Fartcoin, but I've come to find that they can still make money, these exchanges, even though this Fartcoin chart looks the way it does, which it just feels like it's straight down. But like they can mess with you and get you to lose, especially if you're in a high leverage short on that. So
yeah, that's what happens to me a lot of times. Is the apex predator will go, where is all of everyone drawing the lines in the sand? Okay, well, let's go 1% above that or below that and just grab everything and then off and away we go. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off there.
That's right. I was just reading a comment on TikTok. Men, give some positivity. The bull run is still in progress. Things will bounce again. Yes.
We are both bullish between now and in May. Both of us are bullish. So
that's yeah. It's there's people who don't want to hear any negative thing, and you're gonna, I mean, let's be real, you're gonna more likely hear something negative from me than you are from Devin, but you're also going to hear a more balanced approach from both of us. There are plenty of people, you could watch their live streams or you could watch their videos and they can fill your head with this idea that LCX is going to go to $50 or XRP is going to go to $10,000 or Jasmine is going to go to $1.
Yeah.
That's not us.
No. And even if I'm bullish right now, that doesn't mean I'm always going to be. Like LCX and XYO are examples of coins where I have flip-flopped multiple times just based off of the value of where it's at. Like at least 5 times I've flipped whether I think it's an extreme value on XYO or not, just based off of where it's at. People are asking me about the FOMC meeting. Is that going on right now? We could pull that up if you want. No,
It's not an FOMC meeting. It's just minutes from the previous meeting. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy about that.
yeah. Thoughts on Pepe?
Oh, what's up with Pepe? Another one that I'm assuming I'm going to look at this chart and I'm going to be like, I'm not interested in buying Pepe right now. But, you know, assuming we see meme coins doing what I think meme coins are going to do, Pepe, you know what? I'm looking at the chart. That's actually pretty tempting to buy Pepe.
I think.
What were you going to say?
I think Pepe does a 2 to 3x. You know, I think you have to have the correct expectations for Pepe. If your expectations are it's a large market cap, and if it was not a meme coin and it was a stock market, it would be on the NASDAQ. If those are your expectations, like, would you expect Apple to do 100x from here? Would you expect Amazon? If no, then I don't think you should expect that out of Pepe. But I think Pepe will probably do maybe a 3x from here is my expectations. Like, it already did, what was it, like a 30 or 40x from where it started, and it's a multi-billion-dollar asset at this point. So that's my thoughts. It's a large market cap and it should be treated as such.
So this is one of the few areas where I would say I'm more bullish than Devin on a cryptocurrency. Enjoy this moment, everybody. I think it's going to do more than a 3x, but I mean, one thing that I just love about meme coins like Pepe is we don't need to worry about the tokenomics.
That is true.
We don't need to worry about supply doing it. But you are right. I mean, you look at Pepe. Let's do it. You know, Pepe in February of 2024. Oh man, I hate all these 0.000. It's just much higher. I'm just going to say it's much higher. I'm not going to do the math in my head with all the zeros and everything, but anyway.
So I'm gonna, from right here on my chart, I'll switch to mine real quick. I'm looking at Pepe. So I didn't. This is starting to like get flirting with getting out of the downtrend, which would be like the rules of Wyckoff.
Yeah.
To the 2618 is about a 3x, and to the 3618 is a 4x. So 3 to 4x, I think, is realistic. And then I do think that the risk to the downside is pretty good. Like, you know, you're talking maybe 25% risk for a 4x potential gain. I think that's you would take that. It's not too bad.
So that's as I was talking, as I pulled up the chart, I was like, oh, you know what? Right now, Pepe looks like a good buy. I mean, you just if you're expecting this thing to turn around tomorrow, I would say, you know, not so much. But if you're willing to hold on for a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if even like 2 weeks from now, you saw pretty decent returns on Pepe, percentages, not X's. So,
yeah, percentages. Thoughts on Rose? I like Rose. I think Rose is a good risk to reward play, and I thought that for a while, and it pretty much hit the risk that I thought it would hit. So it definitely has not performed very well, but I think it's the same thing of like a risk to reward play. I think is pretty good. What do you think?
It's funny. I'm so not interested in Rose. But hey, it's close, man. I mean, looking at this, is it going to break out?
I think it gets to north of 30 cents.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, hey, that sounds great. It's a 7x.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Is that possible for Rose? I could see that. You know, we are talking about short term months, not. You're not talking about. Is that your price target for the whole run or
the whole run? Yeah. Okay. So that's the retracement. Yep.
I don't even remember what my price target was for Rose. But I mean, just looking at this, what if this is the bottom, 3.4 cents, and right now it's at 4 cents. That's this looks like a very good in terms of risk to reward, another one. And it's interesting as we're going through this live stream, I'm like, you know what? We're getting there. We're really close to a point where I would make videos like what I made with in August about like, now is the time. Now is the time to buy altcoins. I look at a chart like Rose right now. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm very tempted, but I'm not quite buying it right now. You give it another week, another 2 weeks. It may be that you'll see me on here begging you guys to get to get Rose or to get altcoins in general.
Yep. I think I wanted to clarify something about Rose. It's it has the same exact schematic of what I'm looking for everything, and it's at the literal bear market lows.
Yeah.
So is it possible to take that out? Like anything in the matrix is possible, but I think the likelihood that you take out like all of this support, I think is pretty low. And then again, it's definitely flirting, depending on how you draw your squiggly lines. It's definitely flirting one way or the other with getting out of this downtrend. Even if it were to just chop sideways and boring, I think that the risk to reward for Rose is probably for a blue chip, one of the higher ones from a macro perspective. Because even just to the 0.5 is, I mean, that's 30 cents. There is inflation on Rose, but and people are like mad about that because I'm always preaching against inflation, but it's not, to me, it's like the threshold is like, have they doubled their inflation? That's sort of the threshold for me. Over the last 4 years, have they doubled? Because that's what the United States dollar did. It doubled in inflation, or it inflated the debt to a double amount. And so if it's not outpacing that, then it's not a good investment to me. And if you look at the FDV on Rose, it did not double. There's like a slight, so and maybe instead of going to the 702, it goes to the 618 or the 0.5 or something like that. It's a marginal amount. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Rose.
So I had it. Somebody says that I had it at $1.25. I don't remember. Could you actually pull up your chart? Yep. I don't remember my reasoning behind that. I made that video about a year ago.
That's the 1618.
All right, that's the 1618. Okay. All right.
I think that could still happen. I'm just being like, I'm definitely going to de-risk. And like, this is what I recommend people do. It's like, you don't need to just wait for the absolute top to sell. Like, take profits along the way. Just like I recommend the average retail, just DCA. I recommend the same thing. Like when things start getting hot, when you do a 1X, when you do a 2X, just DCA a little bit out. So that's what I'm going to be doing with Rose, is at each level, I'm going to be DCAing out.
I mean, all right. So that's a good practical thing right there. You said your target's 35 cents on Rose. I made a video a year ago saying $1.35 or $1.25, something like that. Let me tell you something. If I bought Rose today, which I might, at 4 cents, and let's say it ended up hitting my price target, you know what I would do by the time it got to Devin's price target? I would be like 80 to 90% out of Rose. So even if it hit $1.25, I would be 80 to 90% out by 36 cents, because that's a 9X from here. Okay. I'm not, what's up?
I want to be clear too. Cause people are going to say, I have like, here's my retracement targets. Here's my parabolic targets. That's just my retracement target. My parabolic target is $1 to $2. So price discovery is $1, $2 is absolute parabolic. I would anticipate the probability would be 30-ish cents. And then the parabolic probability would be $1. Just to be clear, because I know people are going to be like, well, he said blah, blah, blah. Now he's saying
that's helpful.
Move the goalpost.
That's the difficulty of giving price targets on anything, is like, all right, all of my price target videos that I made a year ago, it's based off of a $7 trillion total market cap, and it's based off of that coin's particular market cap dominance hitting what it hit in, or around what it hit. Will it hit less or more in 2021? If it was around in 2021, it's most likely, in my opinion, that it's going to not hit the same level of market cap dominance that it hit in 2021. And so where am I going with that? It's like, well, in 2021, the market cap dominance peak was most likely after a big parabolic spike in that cryptocurrency. So maybe it doesn't even get anywhere near where it got. Anyway.
Any thoughts on virtual and other AI agent stuff?
Oh my goodness, virtual. The difficulty with that's virtuals, right? Oh yeah, virtuals protocol. You never want to buy the peak. You know, it's like you see it going up the way that it did in December and then really just in December. It peaked pretty much on January 1st. Is like, all right, you know, you see the chart, it's doing very well, but you don't want to buy the top. Is it too late? And virtual is a picture perfect example of why I get really afraid of chasing green candles, because you just never know. And for AI agents, it looks like the peak was around January. I wouldn't be surprised if most AI agent charts looked like virtual now. And it's what do we do with this? I mean, it's clearly lost support at the 236. That would have been a level that I would have been very interested in buying at that's $1.29, and right now it's at 99 cents. Maybe the next level is this level of, you know, there's some liquidity built up in October, November. That's around, you know, back test of the previous range would be around what, you know, 62 cents. Maybe I'd be interested in buying this. I'd never bought any. I'd rather right now be buying more established cryptocurrencies. I think this is too big of a gamble.
For me, I've made my point pretty clearly on AI. Most of it to me is just complete hype and nonsense. And I'm not saying that this is or isn't. I don't know anything about it. But for me, the only ones that even have the computational power to do what they say that they're going to do, even potential, not even like that they're going to do it. But when I think of AI, at least for me in my brain, I'm not thinking of a really good Google that will spit out something random for you. I'm thinking of actual sentient artificial intelligence. And to me, like, you're going to need a crazy amount of computational power to do that. And the only ones that even have the potential to me are Flux and Dynex. And not even like that they will do it. It's just I know that they have the hash power to do it. But Dynex has not performed very well at all. The chart doesn't look very good. It still has a lot of work to do on accumulation to me. And then Flux to me has the same sort of setup as Rose and LCX and XYO and everything else. So to me, that's my top AI play. And it's not even really AI. It's just like, you know, it's here you go. I'll pull up my chart on Rose. I mean Flux. I really like the chart on Flux. It has the same sort of setup as each of your long, boring accumulation. It's been around here for a long time. It's broken. I mean, even if you were to like move this over here and like you count this, it's either way you draw the line, it's very, very close to breaking out.
Yeah.
And the risk to reward, same thing, is it's like it's at the bear market lows. So and we talked about this a little bit. We talked about this a little bit of we're at 2022. A lot of altcoins we're at, especially the ones with low to no inflation. That to me is the factor. Like price equals supply plus demand. You can measure the demand by market cap. You can measure the supply by the inflation. And so to me, a lot of coins right now, we're at 2022 prices with 2025 risk. And the amount of crypto clarity and certainty and development that we have is in a different stratosphere from 2022, but yet we're at a lot of the same prices. And Flux is an example of that. And maybe that's bad, but to me, it's a good risk to reward.
Yeah, I think that's I've never owned any Flux, but I mean, looking at this, you're making a compelling argument for it for sure. So
this is what I'll say about Flux. One more thing I'll say about it. And again, I want to be clear. I'm very biased because I mine it. Okay. But I was well aware of Caspa with the K, the green one, the one that actually did a 30X. I was aware of Caspa a week after it launched. And that's because if you go on like what to mine, it will tell you like what is the most profitable, what is the most profitable coin to mine. And I considered mining it. I didn't. I missed the boat on Caspa, full transparency, full honesty. But I was well aware of it, and I highly considered mining it, which would have been amazing if I would have done it. Because it was the most profitable coin to mine, but I did not. However, I'll say about Flux, it is the most profitable coin to mine for GPUs right now.
Okay.
And again, the hidden whales are the miners. So,
hey Devin, how do you feel about the fact that you're promoting a coin that you mine? Somebody on my TikTok is criticizing you for promoting a coin that you mine.
I don't know if you think like my 50,000 follower account is just like pumping a multi-million-dollar, what is it, $300 million market cap. I don't know how much power and sway you think that I have. But what that means is I have spent my own time, money, and energy. I'm spending my electricity. I'm spending all the thousands of dollars that I bought on, GPUs and everything like that. And that means I've done my homework in a way that I think it's a good investment. And am I telling you to do that? No, I'm not. But what I'm articulating to you is most AI to me is a complete narrative, and it's nonsense. And what I'm saying is Flux is the only one that even has the potential right now. The computational power required to actually do the thing. Alex, top picks.
Oh man, I was hoping you wouldn't read that question. What are my top picks? Very few right at this moment, but literally, if you ask me that question a week from now, I think we're on the brink of it being like just anything that's top 100. Pick a random coin. And I wouldn't say that. Maybe like 80% of the top 100 cryptos in market cap to start out. Pick a coin, and I think it's going to do well. But right now, so I mean, just Flux here, looking at the Rose chart that we looked at earlier, the Pepe chart, it looks like it's close, but it's not there yet. Jasmy, close, but not there yet. LCX. And so I'm sitting on my hands right at this moment. I do not intend on buying cryptos. So, Solnick and he, end of list. I appreciate the enthusiasm. And of course, I'll buy those irrespective because I'm a supporter of both of those. But just for the sake of, I guess, I suppose integrity or something like that, I think the logic of the ones that logically make the most sense right now are larger cap and older cryptos. Larger cap larger cap and older cryptos.
I would add a third thing: larger cap, older, low to no inflation.
Yes,
like Filecoin.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
third one. Nope.
Yep.
No, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. So to me, this is one thing that I'll like think about. Greed gets people, I think, both ways. And why I don't recommend people, it gets people at the bottom. Like think about back in 2022 when Bitcoin was at, $15,000, $16,000. It was there for a minute, months.
Yeah.
And people were waiting for $12,000 Bitcoin. They were being greedy. That's a greed, even though it's like it's flavored, it's presented.
They knew.
They knew. It's flavored in fear, but it's a greedy entry point. And to me, that is a risk, and that's a big risk of like being greedy at the bottom, like waiting for lower points. Like if it's close, to me, it's like it's a little bit better, especially if there's a lot of chart history. I think a lot of where we're at, it's better to be a day early and $1 short than wait for the day that never comes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is fascinating for those of you who weren't here in 2022. I'm telling you, on live streams, it was something, and it was difficult. It was not easy to buy Bitcoin. You would think, oh, of course, sub $16,000 Bitcoin, that should be super easy to buy. It wasn't. And we were talking, not Devin and I, we didn't know each other at the time, but I was talking with people on the live streams about, it's really fascinating. I mean, we have this thing in Bitcoin that is guaranteed. What's the worst case scenario for where Bitcoin is going to go? I mean, at the absolute worst would have been a 702 retrace, which was $53,000. In other words, you're debating whether you should buy this thing that is, I'm not going to say guaranteed for anything, but pretty much guaranteed to put in more than a 3x within a short period of time, short period being a year or two. And here we are, we've gone over $100,000 for Bitcoin. And I just want you to know that was a difficult thing that you had to do with pain. It was a painful buy. And so you flip that on the other side, it's a painful sell. When things are just going crazy, when you're so convinced if you just hold on a little bit longer, your 5x is going to turn into a 10x. And a lot of you, I see so many of your comments about, if my portfolio only does a 2 or 3x, I'll be content. All right, well, let's see what that's like when your portfolio does a 2 to 3x. Are you actually going to be content? I would dare to say that maybe you won't be content at that point.
Yeah, you guys accuse me and us of moving the goalposts. But when you do a 5x, now all of a sudden you don't want to just pay off your credit cards and your car. Now you want a new house, or now you want a new boat. Now you want a new whatever. So in my opinion, speaking on that, that just reminded me of when I was in the Army. Like, everyone, just a caveat of what? No, I'm not going to do that. But just speaking on what he was talking about, in my opinion, when things are boring, is the time to set up your plan. And you can have caveats of well, if this happens, then I might do this. But generally, you should stick to your plan that you have when it's boring. At least DCAing a little bit. How many coins is enough to hold in a portfolio? I think that this is a mistake that a lot of retail people make. They have
same deal,
75 different coins or whatever. It's how are you actively managing this? You're a dad or a mom. You go to work full time. How do you know 75 different news charts, supply? I do this full time and I can't keep up with 75 coins.
I'll go a different direction with that. This is the answer that I always give. It's more about how much time do you have to give. I mean, you were kind of saying that with a full-time job and with kids and everything like that. We have the luxury of being able to look at charts all day because this is our profession. But, if you're working full-time and you have a family, I would be very selective with that. If you're single and you have a lot of time and you are able to spend time in the trenches, that number would be a much larger number. So I'll stick with that without giving a specific number. I don't know if you're the same way, Devin, but I own more cryptocurrencies than I should. So do as I say, not as I do. And I pulled up go ahead.
I think I have 20.
I want to look at Polkadot in a second.
Go ahead. I'll let you do your chart. I think I have 25 right now or something like that.
Okay.
So just for perspective, and I do this full time, and I'm looking at constantly, but I sort of give a general advice of, I think it does change depending on if we're in the bear market or in the bull market. The amount of people in the bear market that did not have Bitcoin, it's I'm happy about Bitcoin's the first mover. It always has been. It always will be. Or it always has been. And it comes down the least. And so to me, Bitcoin in the bear market should be your biggest holding.
100%.
And then in the bear market, I think you should keep it under 15 and ideally probably 5 or 10. And then if you're in the bull market, I think you can diversify a little bit more depending on how much time you have. I think 10 to 30 is a good number. But
Sure.
I would strongly, like, once you start getting above 50, it's like that's way too much to manage. You're spending way
Yeah.
too much brain power, and in all honestly, the 80-20 rule, it applies to everything, and it states that 20% of everything will equal 80% of everything, and that's going to be true for your portfolio. 20% of your portfolio is going to equal 80% of your gains. So it's important to find the good ones and do your research on that.
Case in point, and then I'll get to Polkadot, because people are just, if I know you can't see this, but on my TikTok, just as every other one for some reason is, hey, can you look at Polkadot? But for example, I bought like $800 of Toshi once a few months ago, and then I just fell asleep at the wheel. It got listed on it got listed on Coinbase, I think, and then it got listed on Binance, and I completely round tripped my Toshi in the beginning. But then after the Coinbase listing, I saw that my $800 was worth like $3,200. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not even paying attention to this anymore. Really. I'm just going to sell all of it in one clip. And it worked out well for me, but there's been plenty of times in the past where I just wasn't, because I had too many cryptocurrencies, I wasn't paying attention. And I round tripped those cryptos. So what were you going to say?
Well, I sort of have a criteria that I look for whether or not I'm willing to invest in a coin. And the criteria is I want at least a year of data. I don't want to be first on anything. I want to be early. I don't want to be first. I don't like buying brand new coins because I can't project what it's going to do. I like a good rounded bottom, Wyckoff, whatever you want to call it. I look for good spots there, and I'd like it to be under the 382 if possible, with low to no inflation. And if it has all those and it's actually doing something, to me, I'm willing to take a stab at it.
So, all right, Polkadot is a textbook example. If you look at the price history here over the last year and a half or so of a crypto that I like it on the other side of a break of a downtrend. Because we saw this from April until, when was that? Until November. Polkadot was just straight up in a downtrend, or I guess I could say late October. And then once it broke through the downtrend and back tested that like a few different times as support, right after that, very shortly after that, it shot off like crazy. And then after shooting off like crazy, Polkadot started a new downtrend, and it's pretty much back down to where it was from August to October, things like that. And it's right at resistance, right at the level right now, which means I'm not quite interested in buying it right now. But this is another one that I would say, give it a couple weeks. This is one that I'm going to be very interested in buying.
Okay. So I'm going to speak on this real quick, because to me, DOT has the same schematic as a lot of different coins right now that I'm interested in. And a sort of early mover of the same sort of setup is Telcoin. And what you kind of see is like a big accumulation. You have this, you could call this the sign of strength, your back test, and then your move to the upside higher. And then you start to, I think Telcoin is actually starting the mark E, in my opinion. But there's like a host of coins that you have this higher high right here, which is that's a good thing in my opinion. And I think Telcoin is kind of a first mover of this. And then there's a whole host of coins that have the exact same setup. Like you could probably throw, well, you can't throw ICP in there, but you could throw like Link in there. You could throw AVAX in there. You could throw Dogecoin even. You could throw like Shiba. You could throw XYO. ADA is an example. There's a lot of coins that have the same setup, and I think that DOT is no different. I like the risk to reward where it's at for sure. I think that it's a good play. Yeah. Even Ethereum Classic. This is a good setup to me. Risk to reward, I think it's going to perform pretty well.
Yeah, somebody on my comment section on TikTok says Polkadot is dead, and my response to that is I don't care, not even a little bit.
Where if
you'll make money on Polkadot if you buy it.
Yeah, I mean, if Fart Coin goes to multi-billion dollars, like what are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So,
Ski, where are we at on the?
all right, I have.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say give like a 5-minute warning, but go ahead.
Where are we on the Euphoria chart in your opinion? I don't know. Let me pull that up. Psychology. What do you think?
It's weird. I think that we need to look at this in terms of our time than because like you can't I can't sit here and say like we're in belief or thrill or anything like that. I mean, given where it is right now, from people in the chats here, but then where are we? I mean, I wouldn't say we're in denial or panic or whatever. I mean, you take the reins. I don't know.
Yeah, if you do it on the micro, like if you zoom in on a 6-month time frame, I would say we're in disbelief. And this is the C19 crash. And that's kind of where I think that we're at. This is obviously well, not obviously, but this is the .com bubble. If you guys didn't know what this is actually looking at, like this actual chart, but this is also just Wyckoff. You know, you have your markup, your distribution, your markdown, your accumulation. I think we're in disbelief. C19, especially on the altcoins. Bitcoin, I would classify differently. Bitcoin is probably in a completely different phase than the altcoins, but I think that altcoins are just the sentiment is the lowest that we've been. I would say that Bitcoin's probably somewhere in optimism, maybe, and then the altcoins are somewhere in disbelief. That's what I would say.
That sounds about right. I'd be tempted to say depression for altcoins. Maybe that's a little too. I would love to be in depression. Yeah. That sounds totally wrong.
Alex,
that's the most hopeful that I could say.
Yeah. Alex, are you okay?
Yeah. Maybe you're right. Disbelief. It doesn't.
Yeah. Either way, I think the risk to reward is better than it's not. If you look at the macro for the altcoins. Thoughts on Crow? I think Crow has the same setup as DOT and everything else that I talked about. I'm bullish on Crow. I think the risk to reward is very good, and I think that they're a player.
Somebody asked about Say. Why doesn't Say ever get mentioned? Top 75 coin. I don't know, man. I've talked about Say plenty. I mean, you just mentioned top 75. How many coins in the top 75 have we even talked about today? I highly doubt that it's more than half, maybe like 20%, maybe even less than that. So Say, I'm not, I mean, that's another one. It looks very similar to a lot of the other altcoin charts that we've looked at here. It's close. It's flirting with breaking through its downtrend. It hasn't quite done that yet. This looks like it's good risk to reward. I have two concerns about Say. Number one is it's a pretty inflationary cryptocurrency. And number two is like I said, what I'm more interested in right now is older and larger market cap. So Say is not older. It's larger market cap, but it's not older.
Well, if it has a lots of inflation, to me it's out already, to be honest.
Yeah.
Flux 7x. I think Flux can easily 7x. I have a target of $5 for Flux. That's my probable case. My bull case is $12. So there you go.
Let's go.
All right. Well, I think we'll do a proper sign off here. That way we don't have to whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even have.
All right.
Hide message. There we go. All right, guys. That's going to be it for this time. We'll be live with Alvarez. It should be Alvarez and the three of us, the three amigos on Friday. And then we'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time. None of us are going to message you. We love you, but we're not going to message you. That's somebody from Pakistan or Kakistan. Thank you for calling AT&T Ski. How may I? No, that's not us. We're not gonna message you. Right, guys, that's gonna be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity. God first. Anything, Alex?
No, I mean, I was gonna just say we're not gonna message you. So
Do not redeem.
that's all I'll
There's
say.
no Sonic
Yes.
airdrop. There's no hee airdrop. Do not redeem for the love of God.
Not at all.
All right, guys.